You start with the player of the year, Alejandro Osuna.
Yeah, let's take a look at that list
here's the list.
as we run through these. There you go.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll start with the pitcher. Alejandro Rosario, who's a great story. He beats out Emiliano Teodo, who was like the MVP of the Futures game. Had an excellent year, of course. Rosario was in college last year, was drafted in the 5th or 6th round from Miami. Didn't have a great year, really, his last year in college. It wasn't an outstanding college pitcher, but he had stuff. And the Rangers found a way to funnel it into something productive, focus on your strengths, attack your strengths, dominate your strengths, and he did it unbelievably well. Talk about a guy who strikes out a bunch, issues very few walks.
129. Those numbers didn't make it. 129 strikeouts, 13 walks.
Yeah. I mean, that's
10 times as many strikeouts.
And he's not throwing 88. He's throwing 98. So it's power stuff. He came from a single parent household in Miami. His mom raised him right. Going out on the road on his own is no big deal, he said. So that's a great story. Alejandro Osuna, he's from Mexico. He has big league bloodlines. Antonio Osuna and Roberto Osuna, former big league relievers. Probably don't want to mention Roberto too much, but Alejandro he was delayed a little bit at the start of the year with an injury. Was at Hickory, dominated Hickory, came up, was even better at Double-A. So that's really good. The Rangers have bigger names in the outfield, but this guy's just a ball player. He's good defensively, has some power, can run the bases. Brian Magdaleno, holy cow, he hasn't allowed a run in his last 17 appearances. Wow. Okay, that's over 3 different levels, low A, high A, and Frisco.
Fantastic.
And then Defender of the Year, Cody Freeman's a great story. He was drafted in the 4th round, I believe in 18 or 19. Chris Woodward knows the family. He has an older brother, maybe younger brother. He has a brother who was a Guardians top prospect and is one of their top young players. He's in the major leagues right now. Cody can play everywhere. They tried him at catcher. He's most comfortable probably at third, but he can play second. He can get around. He has a lot of doubles this year. He has almost 50 extra base hits. So good player developing there. And then the True Ranger Award, the guy who embodies the spirit of what the Rangers want their players to be, is Jax Biggers. He's been in the system for a long time from Arkansas, just hanging around and doing well. He's contributing. He's not just hanging on. He may not have much of a big league future. There are a lot of roadblocks and obstacles in front of him. One problem is Sebastian Walcott, who's another guy who did not win Player of the Year, who might have in another year, plays those positions. But Jax is a utility guy, can play anywhere, plays hard, plays the game the right way, shows up with the best attitudes, a great teammate, all the things that Chris Young wants from his major leaguers, his draftees, his international signees. Jax Biggers embodies those.
I love his rundown of minor leagues.
Yeah.
Like, that should be the Jeff Wilson show. I mean, you have your own.
You
do have your own. But I love listening to that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody doing this that knows more about the Rangers minor league system than Jeff does. And that was one of the hallmarks, and still is, of his weekly podcast. Now, there's a Rangers Weekly as well that he does with John Moore, and they still do a lot of minor leagues. But the point is, he's here now as well. We're gonna continue to dive into these minor leagues in the off season. We're gonna have minor leaguers on. We'll have people from each of the organizations on as well, because again, that's the future, and that's pretty cool to see. And I do think that as you see those awards presented, you're in the organization, right? Somewhere in the organization, you see those awards presented, and you want to be like Jax Biggers, right?
Sure.
Especially that one. That's one where, you can be like, I can do that. I can be what Jax is. He's a great teammate. That's almost like your Roberto Clemente Award, that True Texas Rangers Award.
Or the Heart Hustle Award.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of those that is for heart and hustle. It's for effort. It's for all those things. And every one of these guys knows they're capable of that. I think all of those awards, though, are motivating. Teodo, he's motivated now. Like, man, I didn't win the Nolan Ryan. And by the way, I love the graphic once again that Elijah made for us. And he's like, how do you like the picture on the side of it? I'm
it's
like,
a pretty good one.
Well, I had to zoom in. I'm like, because I had it on my phone, right? And I'm looking, I go, Oh, yeah, that guy looks just like Nolan Ryan. So
Yeah.
it's the Nolan Ryan Pitcher of the Year. Let's give our love to Nolan and Tom, especially Tom Grieve, my buddy, Player of the Year. And I imagine eventually there will be names before all of them, but it's a very honored position to be in, to have your name on one of those awards.